One day, you look in the mirror and feel something you can't quite explain. It's not the gray hair. It's not the lines on your face. It's the quiet question forming in your mind. Am I getting old, or is something else happening inside my body? There is a moment in every man's life when aging stops being a distant concept and becomes a personal experience. It doesn't arrive suddenly. It doesn't come with alarms or sharp pain. It arrives quietly, almost politely. You think back to your last doctor's appointment. You remember sitting there while they reviewed your lab results. Nothing was described as dangerous, nothing urgent, but nothing truly reassuring either. Your blood sugar has started to rise. Slowly, but consistently. Your cholesterol no longer sits where it used to. And then the doctor says something that seems harmless at first, but stays with you long after you leave the office. It's not that bad. This happens to most people your age. Most people your age. That sentence has weight, because immediately your mind starts asking questions. What age is that exactly? The age when the body feels heavier in the morning? When fatigue doesn't fully disappear after rest? When focus becomes harder to hold and mental clarity feels less reliable? Nothing feels broken, but nothing feels optimal anymore. Up until your early 30s, life felt forgiving. Your body recovered quickly. You could eat almost anything without consequences. Exercise worked even when it was inconsistent. During childhood and adolescence, your body developed automatically. You didn't have to manage it. It simply grew stronger on its own. By your mid-20s, you reached your natural peak. For a few years after that, things plateaued. Strength felt stable. Energy felt predictable. Then, slowly, the curve began to slope downward. After 30, degeneration begins, quietly, gradually. By 50, the earliest signs of aging are no longer theoretical. They become noticeable. And here's the critical part. The goal is not to avoid aging. We don't know how to do that. But what we do know is this. With the right lifestyle choices, the peak can be higher, and the decline can be slower. That means symptoms don't have to show up early. Degeneration doesn't have to accelerate. Vitality doesn't have to disappear quickly. But after 50, your biology changes in ways most people never notice until damage has already begun. Muscle mass starts to decline unless you are intentionally active. Collagen and elastin production slows, affecting bones, joints, cartilage, and skin. Stiffness increases not because of age alone, but because the materials that keep tissues flexible are disappearing. And then there is the change few people talk about. Insulin resistance. Even if you haven't gained weight, even if you haven't been diagnosed with diabetes. Most people after 50 are slowly moving in that direction. Foods that were tolerated easily at 30 no longer behave the same way in the body. The metabolic rules change. At the same time, oxidative stress increases. Low-grade chronic inflammation begins to simmer beneath the surface. This inflammation quietly drives degenerative disease and accelerates biological aging. This is why food after 50 cannot simply be healthy. It must be strategic. The foods you eat now must support muscle preservation, hormone balance, brain protection, vascular health, insulin sensitivity, and inflammation control, all at the same time. And this is where we begin. Food 1, fatty fish. The first foundational food after 50 is fatty fish, salmon, sardines, and similar varieties. What matters is not the fish itself, but what it contains. Omega-3 fatty acids, specifically EPA and DHA. Fatty fish is the richest natural source of these essential fats. As we age, omega-3s become increasingly critical because they help regulate inflammation, one of the main drivers of degenerative aging. They also support arterial health, keeping blood vessels more flexible and responsive. But perhaps most importantly, they protect the brain. A large portion of your brain is literally built from DHA, and DHA levels are directly linked to the rate at which the brain shrinks with age. Men with higher DHA levels experience slower brain degeneration, better memory retention, and reduced neurological decline compared to those who are deficient. Here's the problem. Most people don't eat enough fish, and modern diets heavy in processed foods actively displace omega-3s. This means deficiency is common and dangerous over time. If fatty fish is not on your plate multiple times per week, fish oil becomes a necessity rather than an option. Food. 2. Avocados. The second key food after 50 is avocado. Avocados are rich in potassium and monounsaturated fats, a combination that directly supports cardiovascular health. These fats improve vascular elasticity, meaning blood vessels can expand and contract more efficiently. When vessels are elastic, the heart doesn't have to work as hard to circulate blood. This helps maintain healthier blood pressure. Avocados are also high in fiber and very low in net carbohydrates. This becomes increasingly important as insulin resistance develops. Lower insulin spikes mean more stable blood sugar levels and less metabolic stress. Another often overlooked benefit is nutrient absorption. Avocados improve the body's ability to absorb fat-soluble vitamins such as A, D, E, and K, nutrients many older adults struggle to utilize efficiently. They also enhance absorption of carotenoids like beta-carotene, which the body converts into vitamin A. Food 3. Cruciferous vegetables. The third category includes cruciferous vegetables: broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kale, cauliflower, cabbage, arugula, and many others. These vegetables support one of the most underappreciated processes in aging health: liver detoxification. The liver is responsible for breaking down hormones after they have completed their job. Estrogen, testosterone, and other hormones all have a limited lifespan. If the liver cannot process them efficiently, hormonal imbalance follows. Compounds found in cruciferous vegetables enhance the liver's ability to metabolize hormones properly. This becomes critically important for prostate health in men and hormonal balance overall. These vegetables are also rich in antioxidants that help control oxidative stress and inflammation, two forces that accelerate aging from the inside. Food 4. Pastured eggs. The fourth essential food is eggs, specifically pastured eggs. Pastured means the hens live outdoors, receive sunlight, fresh air, movement, and a natural diet. This matters because the nutritional profile of the egg changes dramatically. Pastured eggs contain higher levels of choline, lutein, and zeaxanthin, nutrients essential for memory, nerve signaling, and eye health. They also support the production of acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter crucial for learning and memory. Eggs also provide DHA, not as much as fatty fish, but enough to contribute meaningfully to brain health. Another critical point: cholesterol. Extremely low cholesterol levels are associated with a significantly higher risk of dementia. The brain requires cholesterol to function properly. It's also essential to eat the entire egg. Most of the nutrients are in the yolk, and for protein utilization, the combination of amino acids from both the yolk and the white is necessary. Separating them reduces the body's ability to build tissue effectively. When eggs come from unhealthy confined hens, the nutrient profile suffers. Pastured eggs contain 2 to 3 times more DHA, several times more vitamin D, double the vitamin E, and dramatically higher beta-carotene levels, which give the yolk its deep color. Some commercial producers artificially color yolks with beta-carotene, but this does not improve the rest of the nutrient profile. Quality matters. After 50, the body doesn't fail. It changes its rules. What once worked automatically now requires intention. Recovery slows, inflammation lingers longer, and small nutritional mistakes create larger consequences. This is why the next group of foods becomes critical, not optional, once you cross this threshold. Food 5. Bone broth. Bone broth becomes powerful after 50 because it provides something aging bodies struggle to rebuild on their own: connective tissue material. When bones are slowly simmered, compounds like glycine, collagen, and proline are released into the broth. These are the exact building blocks your body uses to repair joints, tendons, ligaments, cartilage, skin, and the lining of the gut. As collagen and elastin production declines with age, joints lose flexibility. Stiffness increases. Movement feels heavier. Bone broth helps in two ways. First, it calms inflammation, which is necessary because inflamed tissue cannot heal properly. Second, it supplies the raw materials needed to rebuild what's been lost. This combination helps slow osteoarthritis, reduce joint discomfort, and support healthier connective tissue. Some people also notice improved sleep quality. The amino acid glycine has been shown to help calm the nervous system and improve sleep depth in certain individuals, a benefit many adults over 50 desperately need. Food 6. Berries with a strategy. Berries are often called safe sweets, but after 50, even healthy foods require strategy. Berries are rich in polyphenols and anthocyanins, compounds that reduce oxidative stress and inflammation. They protect brain cells from damage, support memory formation, and help maintain healthy circulation. These benefits are real, but so is the reality of declining carbohydrate tolerance. After 50, metabolism slows and insulin sensitivity decreases. This means carbohydrates, even natural ones, raise blood sugar more aggressively than they did at 30. This is why glycemic control becomes essential. The glycemic index measures how quickly a food raises blood sugar after consumption. Pure glucose has a reference value of 100. Traditionally, foods were labeled low glycemic up to 55. But those standards were created for younger, insulin-sensitive populations, and in societies built around high-carbohydrate diets. Those numbers no longer make sense for aging bodies. Here are the ranges that matter after 50. A low glycemic response should fall between 0 and 25. A moderate response falls between 25 and 40. Anything above 40 should be treated cautiously if your goal is healthy aging and insulin sensitivity. With that framework, berries vary widely. Blackberries and raspberries are the safest options. They are low in carbohydrates and high in fiber, slowing sugar absorption. Their glycemic impact sits around 25. Raspberries rise slightly higher, closer to 40. Still reasonable, but not unlimited. Strawberries and blueberries contain more sugar and less fiber. Their glycemic impact can reach 50. This doesn't mean blueberries must be avoided entirely, unless you are diabetic or actively reversing insulin resistance. But it does mean portion size matters. Color becomes a guide. Green foods are safest. Yellow requires moderation. Red signals caution. Glycemic reality after 50. To understand why this matters, consider the foundation of your diet. Meat, fish, and eggs have a glycemic index near 0. They barely raise blood sugar. Non-starchy vegetables also remain very low, usually between 10 and 20, because they are mostly fiber and water. Seeds range between 10 and 35 depending on type. Berries range between 25 and 50. The takeaway is simple. As insulin sensitivity declines, food selection must shift toward low glycemic choices. This is not restriction, it's adaptation. Food 7. Nuts and seeds with precision. Nuts and seeds offer fiber, protein, minerals, and healthy fats, but not all are equal. The most metabolically friendly choices include chia seeds, flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, walnuts, pecans, macadamia nuts, and almonds. Chia seeds sit at the very bottom of the glycemic scale. They contain mostly fiber, fat, and protein, producing almost no blood sugar response. Flax, hemp, and pumpkin seeds also remain very low. Some nuts like walnuts, pistachios, and hazelnuts fall slightly higher, still acceptable in moderation. Sunflower and sesame seeds sit closer to the upper end around 35. They are not forbidden, but they are high in omega-6 fatty acids, which can worsen inflammation if not balanced with omega-3s. This brings us to an important warning. The Brazil nut story. Brazil nuts are one of the most misunderstood health foods. For years, many people assumed more was better. But Brazil nuts are not just rich in selenium, they are extremely rich. Selenium is essential for producing glutathione peroxidase, an enzyme involved in antioxidant defense and detoxification. But selenium has a narrow safety window. The recommended daily allowance is only 55 micrograms. Toxicity begins around 400 micrograms. One single Brazil nut can contain anywhere from 90 to 180 micrograms of selenium. That means one nut can deliver up to 3 times the daily requirement. 3 nuts can push you into toxicity. This explains why so many people react poorly to Brazil nuts when consumed in handfuls. The body recognizes excess before the mind does. The safe approach is simple. 1 to 2 Brazil nuts per day is sufficient. More is not better. Precision matters after 50. After 50, the smallest systems often create the biggest consequences. Circulation, gut health, cellular energy. When these systems decline quietly, aging accelerates, even if everything looks normal on the surface. This is where the final group of foods becomes critical. Food. 8. Dark chocolate done right. At this point, you might be smiling quietly to yourself. Because yes, chocolate belongs on this list, but not the kind most people think of. Dark chocolate contains flavonols, compounds that improve endothelial function. This means the inner lining of your blood vessels becomes healthier, more responsive, and more elastic. Healthy endothelial function allows blood vessels to dilate and contract properly. That directly improves circulation, blood pressure regulation, and oxygen delivery. Dark chocolate also supports the release of nitric oxide, a molecule that signals blood vessels to relax. Better circulation means better blood flow to the brain, the heart, and the extremities. This matters more with age because circulation is one of the first systems to decline. But chocolate must be chosen carefully. As carbohydrate tolerance decreases after 50, sugar becomes a liability. This is why understanding net carbohydrates matters. Total carbohydrates are not the same as absorbed carbohydrates. Fiber slows digestion and is not converted into blood sugar. Net carbs equal total carbs minus fiber. Added sugar is the most dangerous component, especially because half of it is fructose, which promotes fatty liver and metabolic dysfunction. Milk chocolate contains roughly 26 grams of total carbohydrates per ounce, with only 1 gram of fiber. That leaves about 25 grams of net carbs, most of it added sugar. 50% dark chocolate improves slightly, but still contains significant sugar. At 70% cocoa, total carbs drop further, fiber increases, and net carbs decline. But the real shift happens at 85% and above. At 85%, total carbs drop to around 10 grams. Fiber rises to 5 grams. Net carbs fall to 5 grams. And added sugar drops to around 4 grams. At 90%, sugar drops even further. At 100% cocoa, added sugar disappears entirely. As cocoa percentage increases, fat content rises. Fat slows sugar absorption, increases satiety, and reduces cravings. 1 ounce of 85% chocolate feels satisfying. Milk chocolate feels addictive. After 50, satisfaction matters more than stimulation. Food 9. Fermented vegetables and the gut-brain axis. One of the most overlooked changes with aging happens in the gut. Microbial diversity declines with age, and declines even faster after antibiotic exposure. This matters because the gut microbiome influences digestion, immunity, inflammation, and brain chemistry. Fermented vegetables like sauerkraut and kimchi contain beneficial bacteria that help restore microbial balance. These bacteria don't just live in the gut, they actively process nutrients, pre-digest food, and improve absorption. A healthier gut means better utilization of minerals like magnesium and zinc, nutrients many older adults struggle to absorb efficiently. Even more importantly, the gut plays a major role in neurotransmitter production. Most serotonin is produced in the gut, not the brain. When the microbiome suffers, mood, sleep, and cognitive resilience suffer along with it. Fermented foods quietly support mental clarity, immune function, and metabolic stability. They are not trendy. They are foundational. Food 10. Grass-fed liver or its alternative. The final food on this list is one many people avoid, yet few foods offer more return for aging bodies. Grass-fed liver is one of the most nutrient-dense foods available. It provides iron, vitamin B12, folate, and vitamin A, nutrients that are commonly deficient, especially after 50. These nutrients support methylation, detoxification, and red blood cell production. Healthy red blood cells are essential for oxygen delivery throughout the body. As circulation naturally declines with age, oxygen efficiency becomes more important than ever. Liver also supports mitochondrial function, the energy-producing structures inside your cells. When mitochondria suffer, fatigue increases even if sleep and exercise appear adequate. For those who dislike the taste, desiccated liver supplements offer the same nutrients in a more tolerable form. Bioavailability matters more than quantity. The bigger picture. At this stage of life, food is no longer just fuel. It is information. It is instruction. It is a signal sent to every system in your body. Each meal can either push aging forward or quietly slow it down. The foods we've discussed don't work in isolation. They work together. Omega-3s calm inflammation. Fiber stabilizes blood sugar. Fermented foods restore gut balance. Micronutrients support energy and oxygen delivery. When chosen consistently, these foods don't just delay decline, they preserve function. And here's the truth most people never hear. Aging well isn't about restriction. It's about intelligence. Learning to cook real food is not a burden. It's freedom. There are endless resources, recipes, and simple techniques available. One new dish per week is enough to change your relationship with food entirely. Quality food is not boring. It is deeply satisfying, mentally and physically. If this video helped you understand your body differently, you're going to want to continue this journey. I'm Dr. Angelina Stone, and here at Men Over 50 Secrets, we don't fight age. We outsmart it. If you want to truly master your health by understanding how the body actually works, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay with us. Your strongest years don't have to be behind you. You either invest in health now or pay for disease later.